Operating an RF lab has never been easy. There are a lot of radio connections and RF jumper cables to manage. It can take hours to set up for different test scenarios by reconfiguring equipment and patch cables. Reproducing a test is almost impossible since you can't be sure that the configuration was exactly the same as previous tests. The test scenarios themselves are complex and getting more so. Handoff, roaming, carrier aggregation, and more. Manually controlling the connections, the attenuation values, and the rates of change is very difficult to do and even harder to repeat accurately. Finally, there are a lot of demands on the lab's resources. There are a lot of people who need access, and it's not always easy to manage that effectively. One solution is simply to buy more test gear to avoid blocking, but really that isn't an effective use of resources. Of course, the challenge for the last year during the COVID-19 pandemic has been access to the lab itself. If these things were hard before, they're nearly impossible if you can't physically be at the lab. Unfortunately, the work still needs to get done. Over the past few months, one of our customers has been working to address this situation using Acentury's LAMTA platform. LAMTA is an RF lab management and testing automation solution that enables remote operation and management of an RF lab. Our initial customers purchased LAMTA to streamline the operation of their RF labs. Now, with the COVID-19 pandemic, we are seeing demand for this solution to enable remote lab operation and work from home scenarios. This solution connects signal sources, like a set of base stations on the left here, to a series of devices under test through RF switch matrices that are controlled by the LAMTA software. These fully non-blocking switches come in various sizes and configurations, but typically range anywhere from 8 inputs and 8 outputs, or 8 by 8, all the way up to 32 by 32. Each switch allows any combination of input ports to be connected to any combination of output ports with software-controlled attenuation. With LAMTA, the test environment is cabled up once and then reconfigured remotely via the LAMTA user interface. It allows rapid reconfiguration in minutes through software instead of taking hours by hand. The tests themselves are also controlled through LAMTA. LAMTA automates the required combination of signals at the appropriate signal strengths to simulate various conditions such as roaming, handoff, MIMO, and carrier aggregation scenarios. LAMTA ensures that the tests are perfectly repeatable. All the tests are precisely controlled by software, not by hand. Also, the cable configuration and interference environment does not change from test to test, and RF jumpers are not subject to wear and tear of many disconnection and reconnection cycles. LAMTA can be used to validate both RAN configuration and software releases, as well as mobile device performance and functionality. It improves lab utilization because more tests can be run in the same amount of time due to reduced setup overhead. And in some cases, the same set of lab equipment can be used simultaneously by multiple testers. Finally, it supports multiple testing sites, so equipment in one location can be used by staff in another. This increases the opportunity for lab resource reuse. For example, one set of test equipment accessed by staff in multiple office locations, potentially across several time zones. And in the case of COVID-19, it allows staff to access the lab while working from home.
The world of wireless networking is complex, and it needs partners who can deliver innovative and high-quality solutions, such as Acentury Radiocom, providing best-in-class performance, pricing, and lead times on fiber and 5G-ready components, and Acentury LAMTA, an automation platform for managing an RF lab from anywhere. 5G-ready solutions from Acentury.